Now, I think that we can all agree here that Kathy Griffin is by far one of the most vile, inflammatory individuals out there in show business as a comedian, if you even want to call her a comedian at this point in 2025, given that her tour was an utter failure. But not just that, she always uses her politics and actually forces it onto the general public, and if you don't agree with her politics, then you're out. She doesn't want your business, and it's really a typical type of behavior coming from those in Hollywood, coming from those in the media as well, and how they are already using the Charlie Kirk situation, the assassination that took place on September 10th, to politicize it, to make a mockery out of it, and to just drag Trump into the actual middle of it all. This is Mike Zero. Subscribe if you're new, and like this video to see future updates. You can also follow me at Mike01. I thank you also very much for the great and kind support. Now look, I was never a fan of Kathy Griffin. I never will be, to be quite honest. And we all know that she lost even some of her own fans over the past several months based on what she's been saying, based on exactly what she's been delivering to the public, either on the media or on her comedy tour, or just flat out saying some of the most ridiculous things out there. And already she's hopping on the anti-Trump rhetoric bandwagon and using the Charlie Kirk assassination to ramp it up. Let's get into this. Now, one thing about Kathy Griffin is for sure is that she really just keeps continuing to dig herself into a deeper hole, and she's never going to find her way out of that. We all know it, they know it, whoever's affiliated with Kathy Griffin, they know it as well. Now, what's interesting about all of this moving onwards is that yes, with the assassination of Charlie Kirk causing so many of those in both Hollywood and now, yes, even the music industry, now to come out and politicize the entire situation that happened on September 10th, one major development going on now involves more to do with Kathy Griffin, who recently said some of the worst things about the Charlie Kirk assassination, and connecting it all to President Trump at no surprise. Kathy Griffin delivered the following. What is so disgraceful to me right now in America is the America that I grew up in. It's just not America anymore. What's terrible right now for comedians is that our sitting president is using the Charlie Kirk assassination to actually silence comedians and to strip away comedy from our country. He just can't take a couple of jokes, now can he? And that's the joke about America right now. What's even worse is that Charlie's legacy is now under control by his wife Erika Kirk, so the far-right agenda will continue. And look, what happened to Charlie was not deserved. It should have never happened. But his political views were even worse than Trump's, that's for sure. And I think that's the problem right now, is that we are dealing with a country where American citizens actually believe that we are in good hands. Erika Kirk's far-right views are not going to help anybody. Trump's politics and his policies aren't helping us either. And I am tired of the argument that it's too soon to talk about politics after Charlie's passing and just how tied he was to Trump, because that's the truth. And look, I don't support political violence at all. I never did, and I never will. I think we can all agree that Trump is a racist, misogynist, and a sexist, and to see Erika Kirk hugging this man at Charlie's memorial is not a good look at all. It's totally disgusting. Now guys, let me just stop right there for one moment. She's one to say that she doesn't support political violence. Do we all remember what she did with the fake Trump head thing? I think that we all remember that. That's a very big thing that everyone has to actually look back on, to call her out on her lies. Now, again, she continues, I think as we get closer to the midterms, we all have to stand up while we can and call out just how much of a liar Trump really is. And I agree with many of those in the same business as I am, that Trump is using the Charlie Kirk assassination to point the finger at Hollywood, and more so comedians, and to silence them on the spot. We all saw what happened to Jimmy Kimmel. We all saw what he did to other comedians as well that are hard-working comedians. It's an embarrassment to our country, all these right-wingers coming together to use the Charlie Kirk assassination to push their Trump messaging is pathetic. Now, guys, again, we know that Kathy Griffin is obviously reaching at this point. That's exactly what's not happening at all by any means. And we know at the same exact time, this is not something that Trump or the Trump administration is taking advantage of to silence comedians or anything like that. That is not the case at all. In fact, look, Jimmy Kimmel is back live on the air again by ABC. So whatever happened to Trump silencing Jimmy Kimmel permanently, that's just not the truth. And that was also yet again another false narrative being, of course, painted by a lot of those celebrities out there, saying that and really delivering that left and right. Now again, we all know that Kathy Griffin is basically a washed up comedian. She really has nothing left to offer. Nobody really even laughs at her anymore. And even some of the fans that were very loyal to her, some of those that are even so anti-Trump, even they are beginning to leave Kathy Griffin at this point in 2025. And look, you can either, dislike or not agree with Trump's policies all you want. That's fine and perfectly okay, by the way. That is all open below in the comments. But what's interesting, though, is how severe Hollywood really is, how severe some of these celebrities really are, to the point that they really just have to politicize the Charlie Kirk situation so soon after his death, just on September 10th. It hasn't even been a month yet, right, at this point. And you really see exactly how Kathy Griffin, Whoopi Goldberg, Sonny Hostin, and many of those, like Robert De Niro, for example, George Clooney, Julia Roberts, so many celebrities out there are just using this as an opportunity to just push the anti-Trump messaging yet again. Now, she continues, and it shows how we have devolved as a society in America, and it scares me, it really does, not just as a working comedian, but as an American citizen. I have never been more afraid in my life than I am now. Trump is an evil human being who is using Charlie's passing to push his politics, and this is also an issue with our Vice President, J.D. Vance. I really do hope that Americans, both men and women, grow the hell up already and gain some common sense after all of this. We need to focus on the real issues going on right now in America that Trump is ignoring excessively. So look, I don't think anyone's using the passing of Charlie Kirk and the assassination of Charlie Kirk to push Trump's messaging. I do not see that happening at all. And sure, you may have that in a very, very minority out there somewhere on the internet, but that's really not what's happening in the majority here. And that's what basically a lot of celebrities like Kathy Griffin, Whoopi Goldberg, etc., are trying to actually build that narrative as. That so many, people following Trump or supporting Trump are using this whole assassination to push the Trump administration's policies and to play the blame game. That's not what's happening at all. In fact, people are just lending out their support to Charlie's legacy, to Charlie Kirk's loved ones, such as his wife, Erika Kirk, and even his friends and family, right? That's all what people are really doing in the majority of cases, all right? That's the majority. But what's interesting here, yet again, is that Kathy Griffin is really just trying to make it out to be like Trump is silencing comedians as a result of the whole Charlie Kirk assassination. And that's exactly what's not happening at all. Now, one thing I will want to add here is that we know that basically the media is losing the whole entire battle right now. And that's exactly why, they are losing funds. That's exactly why ratings are taking a sharp decline for Jimmy Kimmel, Good Morning America, The View, and so many others out there, for example. And when you're looking at this, in the rearview mirror, when you're looking at all of these celebrities, all of these comedians, all of these writers, directors, actors saying such terrible things, it's really backfiring on them for sure. But overall, I would like to hear what you all have to say about this below in the comments, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel, and I will catch you guys later.